the change in the world. A few years ago, I would get argument from people about the change. Well, it's not going to change. Journalism is kind of an eternal thing. Well, we teach the eternal verities, as we call it here at CUNY, but now I think everyone agrees that we're under incredible change. But I think the change we're going through is even greater than we imagine, not just in journalism, but in most every industry out there. I posit that it's a word you use it when you teach, you say posit a lot, that we're moving past the industrial age, past the age of mass manufacturing and distribution and marketing and media, into whatever follows. What follows, I think, has something to do with an age of knowledge, an economy of knowledge, an economy of abundance. And so the changes are permanent and they are fundamental. And I think it is critical that we have to question the assumptions that came from the means of production and distribution that we had before, paper. What came out of those assumptions was that, of course, that news was one way. We're getting past that, I think, pretty well now. That it was once a day. We're getting past that as well. That it was perfect. We worked on it all day, and it had to be absolutely perfect. That it was centralized. That it was a record of the world. And so we have to get past these assumptions, figure out what our assumptions are and were to reinvent news for this new world. The post I wrote yesterday, every time I look at the finances of newspapers, it looks worse and worse and worse. The very first week of the first class of the first year of this brand new school, I do a different spiel about the state of the business. And I did it so well, one of the students in the class put her head in her hands and said, "Oh my God, I've made a terrible mistake. I've come to the wrong place." And I said, no, stay. I had visions of going to the dean and saying, I just lost half the class, the inaugural class. And I said, no, come back next week, because it's really about opportunities. The opportunities are tremendous, and you see that. We've got to figure out how to grab that. But the business situation does look dire. Certainly the change is there, and the change that we're going to get to make journalism survive is not going to come from incremental changes. It's going to come from reinventing journalism. It's going to come from taking over the eternal verities of our tradition, but bringing them into the new world. So this is a kind of silly little chart that I do as a professor. But the world before was obviously that we were the middleman between the world and the press. But now if you redraw this world around me, we have all of these sources of information. We have all these sources, our peers and links. Media is part of it, but companies and government and all that. And then so if you look at what makes up the press, it's a whole bunch of things. And we're just one part of it. We don't own it anymore. And I think there was part of this myth was that we did own the news. This is important, which is to say maybe the rest of everything else I say isn't. But this notion of the link economy is the one that I think befuddles most people I deal with and that I still get befuddled by and see how important it is. We go from the content economy, where you owned content, you controlled it, you created it, you sold multiple copies physically, or you syndicated it to others who sold ads on it and paid you. And so this idea of multiple copies was the content economy. It was the basis of all of our work since Gutenberg, thank you very much, 570 years ago. Well, now we're in the link economy, where online you need only one copy of anything. And it is the links to that that give it value. Content with no links has no value. It gains value as it gains links. Thus, those who give links give value. And this is the war we see happening right now over the future of the economics of news. Right? People yell and scream about aggregators and Google News and bloggers. You're stealing our stuff. You're stealing our value. And the bloggers look at these people like they're nuts and say, no, we're giving you value. Every time we give you a link, we give you value. It's up to you to do something about that. But this is the way the economy of the internet works. So that's why I think that efforts to put walls around content the exact wrong way to go. Whether that's a paywall, which, I mean, if you can charge, God bless, try it. But you're going to lose things along the way. You're going to lose audience. You're going to lose the opportunity for advertisers. You're going to lose, probably more important than anything else, Google juice. You're going to lose the discovery that comes from people seeing you through search. The other wall, in the last few weeks, we've seen this big discussion, this meme that I'm afraid is like a whack-a-mole I want to hit over the head, of trying to expand copyright law to limit the permission that people have to summarize, and even link to news. It's suicidal. It's insane. But that's the reflex of the content economy is I own it, I control it, that's how I benefit, so I must protect it. Well, that act of protection is suicidal, I think. It will kill the news, I argue. So understanding the essence of this link economy, I think, is the most critical discussion to have right now. But it's also the one that just goes counter to so much of how we've operated for so long. So in the content economy, I think that's fairly clear. In the link economy, there are some imperatives to how you operate. One is that your work, your content of any form must be open. It must be searchable and linkable. If it isn't, it won't be discovered. It's the tree that fell in the forest that no one heard. Number two is that he or she who gets the links has to monetize them. If I control the only copy of something and I get lots of links, then I'm the one who has to put ads on it and so on. And that's part of the problem here. People say, well, Google should give us money. No, Google is giving you value. It's giving you links. You've got to figure out what to do with that audience. Another is this notion of do what you do best and link to the rest. The link economy brings you an efficiency that says that I don't have to do everything. I can no longer afford to do everything. The myth of the newspaper was that I did give you everything. Well, no longer. So it demands specialization. And finally, the link economy says that, again, that the discovery through Google and search and links is what matters. Man, I'm sorry for our screen. It's really awful. That's a fun picture over there, the sausage picture. I will confess that I couldn't find the rights to it, so I just took it, but don't tell anybody. So this notion of what we do as product versus process. The myth of print was that we created a product every day because we had to, or a show on TV every day because that's what we did. Well, we all see now how much journalism is turned into a process and how it changes what we do. As I wrote my book, I think one of the great lessons that I learned from Google is the notion of the beta. And we saw that just this last week, Google Docs and Google Mail and Gmail and all that went out of beta after, what, I think 5 years? But when Google puts out a beta, it's an important statement. It is a statement that says, this product is unfinished and it's imperfect. In that sense, it's a statement from even Google, from the mountaintop, of humility and humanity. We're not perfect. We didn't know how to do this. You know better how to do this. And that's what journalism really always has been, day to day to day. But we kind of acted as if, especially in my era, as if that, get it right, kid. You got one chance. That's the perfect story. And once we've done it, that's